8-year man who they're calling a drifter is being held in a Texas prison after he confessed to 90 different murders and is being investigated for possibly more. Is listed as the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. Guy's name is Samuel Little. Samuel Little preyed mainly on drug addicts and prostitutes during a decades-long run murder spree that stretched from coast to coast. In the Federal Bureau of Investigation said in a report, Little is listed at 6'4", was a former boxer known as Samuel McDowell, was arrested at a homeless shelter in Kentucky in 2012 and extradited to California to face drug charges. Once there, DNA evidence linked him to 3 different cold case murders, and Little was convicted in 2014 of murdering 3 different women between the years of 87 and 89. All 3 of the women had been beaten and strangled to death. Sentenced to life in prison, Little was transferred to Texas in connection with the investigation into another murder. Bobby Bland, a district attorney of Ector County where Little was being held, said he eventually confessed to the 1994 murder of Denise Brothers in Odessa, Texas. After a Texas Ranger named James Holland gained his trust, Little began confessing to dozens of other murders committed between a 35-year span of 1970 and 2005. FBI crime analyst Christina Palazzolo said during the course of an interview in May of 2018, Little went through city and state and gave Ranger Holland the number of people he killed in each place. Jackson, Mississippi 1, Cincinnati, Ohio 1. He killed 3 people in Phoenix, Arizona, 3 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a total of 90 murders in all, of which law enforcement has so far verified have connected him to 34, but he's mentioned about 90. Little will be confirmed as one, if not the most prolific serial killer in history. Above the Green River Killer being the other one. The deadliest known U.S. serial killer is believed to be Gary Ridgway, who's dubbed the Green River Killer, who's convicted of possibly 71 murders, if not more. The FBI said it was working with the Department of Justice, Texas Rangers, and a dozen of state and local agencies to match Little's confessions to unsolved murders across the country. No, not classified as homicides yet. According to the FBI, Little remembers his victims and the killings in great detail, but is less reliable, however, when it comes to remembering dates because of his age. He's 78. Because his victims were mostly drug addicts and prostitutes, which people don't consider to be important. In some cases, the women were never identified and the deaths were never investigated. Little's method of killing also didn't always leave obvious signs that the death was a homicide, the FBI said. The one-time competitive boxer usually stunned or knocked out his victims with powerful punches and then strangled them, it said. With no stab marks or bullet wounds, many of these deaths were not classified as homicides but attributed to drug overdoses, accidents, or natural causes. Little grew up in the state of Ohio, dropped out of high school, and lived a nomadic life, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. He usually would shoplift and steal to buy alcohol and drugs, the FBI said. His criminal record dates back to 1956 with arrests for shoplifting, fraud, drugs, and breaking and entering. He was accused of murdering women in Mississippi and Florida in the early 1980s, but was not convicted because he fled the state. The FBI said Little was in poor health and is likely to spend the remainder of his days in prison in Texas. The FBI did not say what ailments he suffers from, but the New York Times said that he is wheelchair-bound and he is suffering from the complications of heart problems and diabetes. Sergeant Michael Mangaluzzo, a Florida detective, told the Times that he had asked Little during an interrogation how he managed to avoid arrest all these years. Little asked him how could Mangaluzzo asked Little how can you manage to avoid arrest all these years, and what Little told him is I can go into my world and do what I want to do, as saying I won't go into your world, but